Hi, it's Sokot from Oneness Freedom to be Happy and Healthy, Wealthy and Healed movement. And you're listening to a training series on the Awakened Imagination Challenge. Okay, repeat after me. I'm curious to see how my natural state of love and abundance will reveal itself for me to experience starting right now. Okay, let's do that again. Repeat after me. I'm curious to see how my natural state of love and abundance will reveal itself for me to experience starting right now. This is day 8 of the challenge. We start today with a really quick review. So why are we doing these tiny little exercises? The reason why we are doing them, we want to go back to the initial young man who walks up to the two girls who giggle, and the young man's state changes. We want to explore that we imagine meaning when we look at something. If we look at the desk, we imagine it has meaning, such as a sedentary lifestyle. If I look at my belly in the mirror, that has meaning. Well, it doesn't, but I can add meaning to it. I can imagine what it means because of this belly. I lack discipline. Or I can imagine that I am the kind of guy who really loves life and that I have managed to pick up 5 kilograms over the winter. No big deal. We imagine meaning, and this impacts our state tremendously. So as we become more aware of the triggers, they could be visual triggers, looking at the belly in the mirror, or it could be ordinary triggers, like overhearing someone giggle, or they could be physical triggers. These physical triggers are some of the most fascinating ones, because until you make the distinction, not just get it in your head, but fully experience the distinction between emotions and sensations, you will have a rough time running your own states. So, today's lesson focuses solely on that, doing the same kind of practice we have doing since we started. These exercises are very simple, but very powerful with how they are going to change your life. I can't tell you how powerful they are. All you can do is discover it. We are going to notice physical sensations. Example, I notice my right hand is warmer than my left hand. I don't know what that means, but I could start imagining that it has meaning. Maybe that I have circulatory problems, or maybe a drought that is coming in from outside, which could mean that I'm not taking care of my house, and I could imagine what that means. It starts with a sensation, and then we start adding in emotion, and emotion is part of the imagination. The sensation difference is that the right hand feels warmer to the left, and the emotions that shows up after that are a product of imagination, literally of unconscious imaginal acts. In today's lesson, simply notice physical sensations. Example, my right hand is warmer than my left hand, and repeat the tiny little phrase like exercise. Example, the sensation does not mean anything. It does not mean what I imagine it does. It doesn't mean I have circulatory problems, or that I have not been taking care of my house. Well, it just means my left hand is colder than my right hand. That's all. It doesn't mean anything other than that the condition is my left hand is colder than my right hand. So again, returning back to sensation, moving that flashlight of attention earlier into our experience system. When moving the flashlight around, what we are training you to do is escape these triggers, because if the young man realized that it was not the girls giggling that made him feel uncomfortable, it was him imagining what it meant. First came the girls' giggles, then comes him imagining what it meant. They are making fun of me, they don't like me, but he misses all of this and instead says, they laughed at me, and the trigger does the job. What we want to do is get before the trigger, and we do this by using the tiny phrase, this sensation does not mean anything. It does not mean what I imagine it does. Play with that, with whatever sensation you have. If I scan my body, I could notice that my head feels a little tight. I don't know what that means, but I could go, oh, it means that my blood pressure is elevated, which means I'm not taking care of myself, and that I may run into problems with my doctor. If I could mean all that stuff, or I could just notice my head is a little tight, or that I just put on an elastic ball cap 10 months ago. I say this sensation doesn't mean anything. It is just indicative of something in the physical world. Not a big deal. As you realize that the triggers are robbing you of your state, it is just like the attitude money experiment when you put $100 in your wallet and state the intention to double it every 7 days, or so example, to $200, then $400, and so on until you achieve quite a stash of money. You can relate to doubling your money, and we are doing the same thing inside your minds right now. We are purposefully not squandering the state we have built up. I could squander that attitude money when the stash has grown to $500 by saying, wow, I have a great amount and I want to spend it. Well, I hope nothing comes to it that will require me to spend it. Similarly, when I have a good state, the temptation is to spend it, squander it. When you start to build up a decent amount of energy and vibration, the temptation is to say, in the young man and giggling girl's example, the girls laugh, which must mean they don't like me and are making fun of me. And then the state sinks. Or, when I am in a really good state, pumped about making a decent recording like this one, having fun even when I realize it has exceeded 5 minutes, and then squandering by saying something like, my head hurts and maybe I need to take a nap because I am not taking care of myself. This is the stuff we want to notice doing. When you do notice that you are squandering your state like this, use this exercise and tell yourself, this sensation does not mean anything. It does not mean what I imagine it does. Play with that. Today for 3 minutes, times 3 times. Sit down, be still, and listen to the recording a couple of times if you want to. Realize that emotions mean you are adding auditory judgment to the physical body sensations. And that is what we want to get away from a tiny bit. Do this, and you get to live the adventure of a lifetime. Okay, that's it for now. See you tomorrow, and remember to have fun.